Welcome to How to Harmonize Procurement and Accounts Payable, a panel discussion brought to you by the Controllers Council. My name is Neil Brown, Executive Director of the Controllers Council. And before I introduce our expert panelists and our partner sponsor, let me share some brief housekeeping items. We'll have Q&A at the end of the presentation, so please use your GoToWebinar control panel to ask our expert questions. Next, this webinar is CPE eligible with 4 polling questions, so please answer each poll for CPE or to benchmark your peers. Please do allow 1 to 2 days for CPE certificates to arrive via email. Also regarding CPE, you'll receive a brief survey directly after today's webcast, so please complete. And finally, you'll receive a link to this webcast via email in the next 24 hours, so no need for notes or screenshots. With that, I'd like to say a word about our partner and sponsor. Bill is a leading financial operations platform for small and mid-sized businesses. Bill automates the future of finance so businesses can thrive. Bill's integrated platform helps businesses to more efficiently control payables, receivables, spend, and expense management. Hundreds of thousands of businesses rely on Bill's proprietary member network of millions to pay or get paid faster. Headquartered in San Jose, California, Bill is a trusted partner of leading U.S. financial institutions, accounting firms, and accounting software providers. For more information, visit bill.com. And with that, I'd like to introduce our speaker and expert, Ali Haydar Tayeb. Ali is a senior account executive for Bill and was in the SMB category and mid-market as well. Ali earned a Bachelor of Science in Finance from San Diego State University. Ali, welcome.
Thanks, Neil.
All right, so let's look at today's agenda. First, we'll discuss how to establish clear roles, responsibilities, and processes for finance and procurement. Next, we'll discuss the challenges companies need to address as they coordinate procurement and finance. And then we'll cover how to facilitate successful collaborations between finance and procurement teams. All right. But before we get started, we're going to do our first poll. We're going to have 4 polls, so if you don't get this one, do not worry about that. Which of the following best describes your company? Select one of the following. Multiple choice. Take a few seconds here to answer. Still waiting for votes. All right, a few more seconds, please. And we'll take a look. Again, we're going to have 4 questions, so if you don't get this one, do not fret. So let's take a look. 42% have established a dedicated procurement team. 23% intend to establish, and 35% do not intend to establish procurement. Ali, any perspective on this from your SMB or mid-market experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting that we see that kind of 35% of people not intending to establish a dedicated procurement team. And I think it's important to note that that doesn't mean necessarily that procurement's not going to be relevant or important. You may just not necessarily need an entire team member or staff of members of the team dedicated to it. And then especially for the 23% that do intend to establish a dedicated procurement team. Hopefully we can give you a lot of good knowledge today on best practices for that and things to think about. And then just a quick comment for the people that do have a dedicated procurement team. In my experience talking with different businesses, there's still a lot of area of opportunity to collaborate between those dedicated procurement teams and the accounting teams to add, multiple layers of efficiency and control to those existing processes. So excited to get into it.
And I think this also references size of company, right? That large companies surely have large procurement departments, whereas startups and tiny companies likely do not, right?
Honestly, I think that that's a little bit of a myth, Neil, because It really depends on what your business is, right? You could have a small, 10-person company, but if you're in manufacturing and you're ordering inventory or you're dealing with, different parts or building, then there's going to be some procurement involved, and it's going to be even more so important to have those processes be efficient with a smaller team. But on the flip side, there is a portion of that that's accurate as well. As you grow and as you get to a larger scale, you do things at a larger scale, and so procurement, becomes valuable and necessary in those aspects as well.
Excellent. Well, let's move. That does relate to our first question that I'll lob over to Ali. What are the primary reasons growing businesses set up procurement teams?
Yeah, and I think that one's the easy answer in a nutshell, right? It's kind of the same thing that customers think about when they're buying something. It's cost and quality, right? And making sure that you are taking advantage and being strategic about the cost that you're incurring and the quality of goods and services that you're receiving for that money that you pay. And so those obviously are some high level things that can be a lot of different points that fit into that topic. Strategic sourcing being one of them, right? That kind of ties into cost control and efficiency. Risk management, more so an internal process, making sure that you're meeting your compliance, you're managing your cash flow appropriately when it comes to making these purchases, and that you're doing it in a way that's not going to create issues and efficiency for your staff and start to create problems in other areas.
Okay, and there's some additional ones then as well.
Yeah, just kind of a different way to say some of the same things. I think time management is always going to be a valuable point to consider in any workflow or anything that you're doing in business. And so the more efficiency that you can create from your team, the more standardization that you can create in these workflows, the easier it's going to be for you to meet your compliance and legal requirements in a manner that's efficient for your team. And it's also going to, definitely impact the vendor and supplier relationships that you have with these other businesses that you're working with. And, assuming that you do it at least to an extent the right way, you're going to have a lot more insights and data that's going to allow you to then make the more strategic decisions moving forward.